Now, let's just get into it. Many people are working for money, but they're not working for freedom. Now, what's the difference? Where does this thing collide? Ask yourself this question. If you did not have to get up this morning and go to work, if you didn't have a mortgage or rent or car payment or insurance payments, or you didn't have to worry about that stuff, what would you be doing right now? I don't take my freedom for granted, but I take for granted how many people don't understand that this is possible. It's brisk outside. Brr. Was thinking, woke up. Now, the quick answer would be vacation, hanging out with friends and family, things you do on the weekends. But I want you to really probe deeper, go deep, deep, deep with it. What would you be doing if your creature comforts and your necessities were easily handled? Would you be working in the field that you're working in? Would you be dealing with the people you're dealing with? These are very important questions because many people have a life they tolerate, not a life that they created or want or enjoy. They tolerate it. How would you feel if every day you had to tolerate your life? Every day you had to think about your life in terms of it's okay. And this isn't saying be ungrateful, but every day is a struggle. Like you hit the alarm clock 5 times, maybe even 12, because you didn't want to go to that job. Or you're in school and you can't stand it and you hate every moment of it. And you feel like you are perpetrating a fraud by being there because you really don't want to be there. You have all of this stuff that's going down, all of these things that are swirling with little regard to what's your true purpose in life? What's your true calling? What should you be doing? What do you want to do? Once again, now I agree to a certain point. There are many things you have to do because there are learning points that you're not particularly happy with. But look at it this way. Say if from age 12, because at that point your consciousness comes in, you have a lot of philosophy, you have things you think about. Say from age 12 to 22, you had to do a bunch of stuff you didn't want to. And then from 22 on up, you start doing what you wanted to within reason, things that you've earned, nothing illegal, nothing crazy. But you can do this stuff because you understand that freedom is yours. You don't have to tolerate a bad job. Now, all of this predicates on the cascade of choices. Give you an example. I had one client who sent me this wonderful screenshot of all the cash on his desk. And I know that this dude has struggled quite a bit and he's made a lot of sacrifices. The choices that you make today, which is October 19th, 2015, will predicate what's going to happen October 19th, 2016. All of this stuff is relevant because, excuse me, many people feel that things just happen. Or, my favorite cop out is, well, the Lord didn't want me to have it. Maybe you haven't done certain things because the way that I understand life, it's a process. If you do X, Y, and Z, and hold on a second, you're going to yield a certain outcome. Now, this is the miseducation of the American hustler. There are many people who are operating on false narratives. They think, well, I'm a good person. I look after others. I do all these wonderful things. Yet my life sucks in places that I don't think it should suck, but it does. I was reading this blog post that was posted in the Facebook group about this woman who created this blog network. She was a princess. She was above board. She was super fair, and she ran a business. Because see, this is the thing, and I want you to hear me. Once you start doing certain things with certain people online, there are some people you can shake their hand, and it's a deal. It's done. And then there's other people, you better have a contract. And your contract has to be so simple that a 5-year-old can go, yep, I understand it. Because they will fuck you, because we have people who operate on a scarcity mentality. Folks who operate on this, there's not enough. This weekend, I got one of my cars washed, and I had to get change from one of the attendants to do the tip. Lady gave me like $1 too much. And I just went back and I gave her her money back. It wasn't even like, oh, hey, it's too much, because you're out here washing cars, waxing, doing all the stuff. You're really working your ass off. I'd be just pretty shitty to rob you of $1. Now, many people who operate on a lack mindset, it's just $1. No, it ain't your money. It's wrong. But the whole point is, she was dealing with these people that essentially screwed her because she was above board. And understand this whole thing of leaving your options. And right now we live in the world of internet fame, where we have bloggers, YouTube channels, podcasters, these people who start to surge and they start to experience success, and they don't want to lock themselves in anything, which I understand, because I have refused to do interviews. I've refused to go on certain hangouts, not because I'm better than anyone else, but I have a vision for where I want this thing to go. And those particular internet things are not part of the vision. They actually distract from the vision. So that's why I didn't do it. You get this stuff where you have these people who are growing, and they want everything. They want everything. You help people get to a certain point, and then it's like that old song by Janet Jackson. What have you done for me lately? Don't care if what you did was the benchmark for them getting, does not matter. 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, 10 years. And if it does not matter, it does not matter. I'll even give you a personal account. There was a point with family where I was the sole source of income. If it wasn't for me, they wouldn't have ate. Not for a week, not for a month. This went on for years. But it was a long time ago. That was back then. That was way back then. It does not matter. And they all fucked me. And I learned from that lesson that things that you do for people in the past, unless the person you're dealing with is someone of character, someone who has a conscience, means nothing. Means absolutely nothing. And they'll even tell you it didn't happen the way that it happened, because they don't want to deal with the possible imperial guilt that may come when they realize how shitty they are. But that is the thing. That's the thing. Now, I'm going to say, be loyal, be a good person, but learn who you should be loyal to and who you should be a good person with. That's the trick. Now, once again, you don't have to become grimy or scandalous or, full of subterfuge and misdirection. No, you just have to learn how to pick the right people. Now, here's a tip on how to pick the right people. First of all, you got to get to know them. And that is super, super important. And you're going to get to know them by hanging out with them. You're going to get to know them by watching them struggle. You're going to get to know them by watching how they treat other people, especially folks that are servers. I don't care what anyone says. When you go out with someone and they treat the servers crappy, the minute that they feel that the position that you're somehow serving them or under them, they're going to treat you crappy. I've experienced it. I've watched it. And typically people who've had to work their ass off in some kind of job of servitude don't treat servers bad because they know what it's like. But you got some people, that's what they're going to do because that's just who they are. All right. For those of you who want to know, today is October 19th. We're getting toward crunch time. This $450 special will end November 6th. So you got a few days to go ahead and get it. And what do you get for this special? Everything. You get everything on this site that's there and everything that's coming, and there's more coming. We have a lot of beta courses that are in process or going to begin. So you want to take advantage of this before November 6th. All right. Now, as for evaluating these people, some people you can evaluate online. If you really get to know them, you get to talk to them, you share experiences, but essentially you got to be careful. Now, all of this leads you to the freedom train because, going back to what I said in the beginning, I don't take this for granted that, right now that I could pretty much do nothing the rest of the day and life would be good. I could do nothing the rest of the week and life would be good. But there's certain things I got going on. But the thing is, I got to make that choice on what I was going to do with my time. That is a choice that I made. That is a choice that I get to predicate. I get to move stuff around. If, I go on the triage method. If you ever worked in a hospital or emergency room, you understand, or you've ever gone, you've this may happen to you. You went in, little Timmy, he had a broken elbow or something, but he was good. So you're in the waiting room, doctor's about to come in. So you hear sirens, lights start flashing, everything's going to trauma 1, trauma 2. All of a sudden, you and little Timmy are waiting another 3 hours to get that done because what came in was more pressing, not more important, but more pressing. If we don't work on this person, they're going to die. That's more pressing. It's not they're better than you. It's just their situation is worse than your situation. And that's how I run my business because when give you an example, I was going to launch the intellectual property dojo, right? On one of the other videos, there's a list how you can get onto that. And I'll make sure to put the link below. But the $25 hustle took off. And I was like, okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to do the $25 hustle. And then we're going to move intellectual property dojo to November. See, that's the beauty. This is what I'm talking about, the freedom chain. I can do this. It drives some people crazy, but if the value and the content's on par, they're like, okay, we forgive you. That's the freedom train to organize your time, organize your days. And this is another reason I'm on the intellectual property tip, because I have sold big products, little products. I've sold gold, I've sold silver. And the thing is, they all have one thing in common. Now, I will tell you of a flip that worked very well, but it doesn't you could probably work it, but you're going to run into a problem at some point. But they all have in common that you must put cash out or put some on your credit card to get product to sell. And like I said, with the commercial furniture, oh my God. You ever been in debt to 150 to 200,000 a month that you're paying like you get a check for 50 grand and none of it's yours because you got to pay your vendor? That shit's brutal. It's just like all of this money and none of it's mine. It's just like money is falling through my hands. I hated that shit. I just got really, really sick of it. Now, here's the flip that I'm going to tell you. There was a watch back in the day. It's still around. It's called Invicta. There was a guy in there, Paramount, downtown Atlanta, who carried Invictus, and he had a lot of them. And I went down there, and I was like, ooh. So what I did, and this is risky, but what I did is whatever he had a lot of, I would go down, because the thing is, I could only call him and have him hold it and say, I'm going to be down there the next day or so. And he got to the point where he started making me pay by credit card over the phone. But I would list as many of these watches as he had as possible. And I would do three-day auctions because, like I said, you never know if he's going to get a big order or someone's going to come in there. So time, it was just, and this went on for about 7 months before I started getting tripped up. I would sell 2 to 3 watches a day, get the paid in PayPal, take my PayPal debit card, call him up, pay him from that, go pick up the watches, and then go straight to the Atlanta post office in Hateville, which is like, back in the day, for those who were like struggling, they knew that if you had to get a bill somewhere quick, drop it off at that post office because it's right next to the airport. And I would go there with my packaging and stuff, swing by, pick up the watches, go there, drop them. I remember this one guy in California because I picked up the watches Thursday morning and I got to the post office about 12. And his comment was, knock your socks off, blazing fast shipping. Love the watch. He got that watch that Friday afternoon, put it in the mail, not priority either, put it in the mail. And he got it like the next day. He couldn't believe it. And it got to the point where we started I would go there to the post office, and it was open at 24 hours at one point. So I would try to go at like 2 o'clock in the morning to get stuff in there because there was always a line. But that went on for 7 months before I got tripped up, because then he got, once again, another eBayer, saw what I was doing, saw I was in Atlanta, and someone found my source. And next thing I know, I would go and, put list watches and stuff, and then call him. It's like, oh, I'm out and I won't have another anymore for 10 days. Do you understand that you got to tell someone on eBay that they got to wait 10 days for something they already paid for? So I had to go to my secondary source in Florida, who charged me more to get the watches. And I'm just like, look, I'm going to trust you. Here's the money. Ship it here. And he would do it, but he wasn't real fast on the shipping. He's shipping in a day or two. But, people are like, I want my stuff. I want my stuff. I want my stuff. And I just, any way you look at it with physical products, and this is never going away. This is never going away. There's going to be people who are going to do physical products until they die. That's always the thing that happens, where you're always like, oh, I can't get it. Oh, it's too much. Oh, and that's one of the reasons I went strictly 100% intellectual property. Something else that I've stopped doing, and this is real funny. I put it out, I'm gonna put it out in the video. I put it out in the group. I put it out to people in hustlerskungfu.com. I am no longer doing consults. And I wake up this morning and there are 3 requests for consults. And I'm just like, oh, this is hilarious. But I'm sticking to the principle. What I am going to do, for those of you who are close to Atlanta, join the group. We're talking about it. I'm going to have some live group sessions, because the thing is, there's a lot of people that have helped through the consulting business, and there's a lot of people who paid me some really good money. But the thing is, there's a lot of people who want the consulting services and will tell me, and this is one of the reasons that I stopped doing it. The rate was $500 an hour. And I had people like, well, could you do 150? And then I was like, okay, you haven't positioned yourself. See, I took responsibility. It ain't even about them. It's about me. I took responsibility. It's like, I have not positioned myself correctly with a large group of folks on this channel who are into the resale world. I haven't positioned myself. And that's why they're like, could you do it for this? Could you do it for this? And I'm like, no. And then, I hold my price and I get my price and I get great customers. But once again, evaluating the business, looking at what makes sense and what doesn't make a lot of sense for me to leave myself open for that, when I could do a serious group training session, get more benefit, get to talk to people, get to see people face to face. And that's what I'm putting together, because what I did, and this is part of Freedom Train, because once again, my core principle, my core thing is freedom. So anything that reduces my freedom is also copiously measured. In consulting, reduced my freedom. I did it because it was good money, but it seriously reduced my freedom, because you had to reschedule, reset. There was a lot of that stuff. Late at night, early in the morning, to meet the client's needs where they were. Someone's sleep schedule was all jacked up for a while. And I was like, okay, this is killing my freedom. Once again, the freedom is my crack. The freedom is my drug, not the money. See, that's where people get confused, because it's like, well, make as much money as you can. See, money is just a tool. You got people making 100 G's who are living better than folks making $1 million. It's very possible, because see, this is the thing. As a business owner who was on the money tip at one point in my life, and this is what I talk about, you become a slave to money, where you start to do stuff that isn't in your best interest of your health, of your family, or of your friends. It's just not in your best interest. And it's really not that much money because, once you get to a certain level, the money just stacks up because unless you just have some crazy spending habits, what are you going to spend it on? You can help out friends and family. You can start an organization. But once you get to a certain level, unless you have crazy, now there's some people who could spend $4-5 million a year. They'll figure it out. Right now, they are broke as a mouse in Somalia. They will figure it out like, hey, I was only making 30 grand last year, but I got 5 million. They're gonna spend 5 million plus because they could just, I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna get little JoJo this, and I'm gonna get Julie that, and I'm gonna hook, and they're just spending and spending and spending because it feels good and it presses on that hindbrain like, woo, I spent, woo. And you get this stuff, and essentially you have people trying to feed big gaps in who they are with money. Now, money's a great thing. Money's a wonderful tool. You'll never hear me say anything about money. But when you're doing things you don't want to do for money, that's a problem. When you're living a certain way because of money and that you don't like, it's like if you like that $5 million lifestyle and the glitz and the glamour and you enjoy it and you're happy with it, that's your thing. That's cool. But if you are miserable like a Kurt Cobain or, Elvis, who just drugged himself to death. I mean, these people had all of this money and fame, but they were empty inside. So when you look at that and understand, you can become very, very rich and be completely fulfilled inside as well. But the thing is, you got to work on that. You just can't, it's just not going to happen. Like you didn't happen to learn how to ride a bike, and you just didn't happen to learn how to do X, Y, and Z. And it just didn't happen that you learned how to have sex. You had to learn. You just didn't go out and like, my stroke game is no, you had to learn. It was a process. Walking was a process. Eating was a process. You had to learn how to eat. There's all these things you had to learn. And just as you're building and putting together your success model, you have to learn how to fill in those emotional holes with the right kind of food. And money isn't the food of fulfilling yourself. And once again, this is part of the freedom train, because first book enabled me to live 2.5 years, almost 3. Didn't have to worry about money. It's like I look down at my account every day. Oh shit, look at these little green dudes. They're everywhere. That was my reality. And I was able to be of service to a good friend. I was able to do things, and I was able to sit back and just kind of think about my life, because when you're pressed, when you're not free, you don't have time to think of ways to get free. You work 8 hours, right? No, you don't. You work 10. There's the time getting ready to get dressed, the commute, lunch. Most people are working 10 to 12 hours a day when you factor in the commute. Because the thing is, you may not be working while you're on the train or you're driving, but you're in work mode. You are turned on. So you got those 10, 12-hour days. Okay, you get home, before you know it, another 3 hours go. Wow, you're at 15 hours. It's getting close to nighttime. So there's not a great deal of time for you to figure out your escape. So for a little while, for you to be free, you're going to have to be very trapped. And what I mean very trapped is you're going to have to say, fuck sleep. You're going to have to get bare minimum where you can operate for about, however long it takes for you to get free. You're going to have to do that. That's what I did. I don't sleep that much as a rule. It's just wired that way. I mean, some people that I've dated was just like, how do you get by on 4.5 to 6 hours sleep? I just can't do it because I wake up and all perky and bushy tail and stuff. So that's part of the success model, is you're going to have to do more than you're currently doing to reach escape philosophy. Because I've seen so many people who want to be free, and they look at it as like, I need to get money to be free. If you do not get money the correct way, you will be even in a deeper trap. You have many people who get in these traps who are not positioned to be truly free. Now, truly free is you wake up, And this is one of the reasons I'm not like overly concerned with being a billionaire, because when you reach a certain level, your responsibilities go out the ass. Just, I know this from running a regular business that had seven figures revenue. And I was just looking at the responsibility that I had. And the thing is, I had a partner. It wasn't just me. I had a partner. It wasn't just me. So I can only imagine the responsibility levels of those larger businesses. And I know you can hire people and you can outsource. And we also live in a world where we have location independent businesses that are really automated. And you've got one person with $1 million business, and they really don't have to do that much once it's built. Tim Ferriss, he created that business model. He used to have the supplement company. He was making like 50, 60,000 a month. Now he was working very hard, but he got to a point where he could just like step back and the money still came in. And that's one of the benefits of living in today. This is what I said, today is October 19th, 2015. If you are working on your freedom, not just, I got to get money. No, if you're working on your freedom, working on your escape, and you're creating businesses that push you where you want to be in terms of freedom, and maybe you want to work 12 hours a day because you're wired like that and you like it and it gives you a chubby every morning. It's like, today I'm going to put in my 12, and you're happy, you're gregarious. That's your thing. There's some people who are just not happy unless they're working. They're just grumpy. It's like, look, I need to go out here and save the world, kill some dragons, slap some bitches, slap some hoes, slap some punk ass dudes. This is what I got to do. It's my role in life. And you get that stuff, right? You got people who have to do that. Then you have people who are, man, if I could just literally work 4 hours a day, I'm good. And then go to the museum, hang out, or, if you have kids, spend more time with your kids. So there's a lot of different roads to freedom, and there's a lot of different destinations and cities of freedom, because everybody has different, what I'm doing may be just woefully boring to some people. You're home all day. You just go out and you have lunch and you do a lot of research. That just be really miserable for a lot of people. They're just like, I can't do that. I need to be out. I need to be with people. I need to be on stage. I need to be talking. I need to be expressing. So the whole point is that everyone has to have a source of economics to give you that freedom path, because you live in these United States of America, and unless you're just born rich or have a rich Uncle Charlie, you got to work. And you've got bills. I mean, even if it's just you're not married, you still got to have a place to live. I mean, you have people who have lived in this minimalist lifestyle, which is a form of freedom. They're like, chucked the job, got rid of the house, got an RV or a van, and they just travel around the country visiting people. That's their freedom. You got more and more people who are doing that. There's communities popping up talking about that level of freedom. I was in the military and I got paid to sleep outdoors. That doesn't really appeal to me, but for some folks, it's adventurous. Especially, I'm going to go with demos. Things that were fun to me from 19 to 25, 25 to 32, don't want to do them anymore. So that's another thing that comes into it. So you have all of these kids with this internet and all of this information and stuff, so they can learn so much and be on the road and hang out. You've got kids who travel internationally, 4 and 5 times a year, because that's what they want to do. They take all of their money and they invest it in the experiences of travel. And there's several channels here on YouTube, like how to hack travel, how to get to London for $450, where to stay on the cheap. Tons of information like that, because that's how people want to live their life. And I think that's pretty spiffy, because for you to have these options. But once again, you've got to figure out, what's your freedom train? What train do you want to buy a ticket on? And your ticket is going to be creating your own economy. Can you imagine if you're like 25 and you create a business that makes you $5 to $8 grand a month, and you don't have to be there and you can do it anywhere in the world? What you could do is sick. You're not balling, but actually in most places, parts of the world, $5 grand a month is balling. 80% of the world, $5 grand a month, balling. 80%, because someone else had posted in the group about how even European middle class are still poor compared to our poor. You ever been to Europe? You ever like rent a place? The places are small. It's a different groove. So you have these things that are going on and you have these things that are going down. But the possibilities are endless. It's just a matter of what ticket do you want to book on your freedom train? What do you want to do? And then that question gets very scary because our society, people are groomed to be workers. They're not groomed to be independent. They're not groomed to be doing their thing. They're groomed to be workers. They're groomed to be part of the collective. They're not designed or groomed or brought up. You know, there's people here and there who are brought up that way, but collectively, people are brought up to conform, and conforming and being free are diametrically opposed. And it's just like, it creates this mental crash. It's like, well, I want to be free, but I need to conform. Which way do I go? And once again, that's something you have to work out for yourself, because I got ejected out the matrix. And, you know, at first it was like, ooh, I don't know what the hell to do with myself. This ain't, I mean, it was a weird place for me, and it probably will be a weird place for you, because when you start talking about living independently of a job, creating processes and systems that allow you to make money legally and do what you want with your time, that's a freak out moment for many people. To many people, it's like a fucking dream. It's like a fantasy. And it's not. It's real. You can do it if you're willing to book that ticket on a freedom train. Seriously. If you're willing to do that, this is something that you can do, something you can enjoy. Essentially, there's some confusion about my consulting services, and I thought I would make a short video to give you an idea of what's going on. Business consulting, business coaching, what I can do for you and you and you and you. Because many people are coming in and they have some expectations that I messed up and put those expectations in your head. So I'm going to reach in your head and rattle it around and pull them out and just throw them away like they're gone. Number one, I'm not doing any eBay consulting. I don't know. People keep saying, hey, you know, I hate fucking eBay, okay? I fucking hate eBay. eBay. Why would I consult? Why would I even? No, it makes no sense. Amazon consulting. No, I don't do Amazon consulting. There's tons of people who do eBay coaching, Amazon coaching. I'm not one of them. I'm the guy that believes in having your own website. I'm the guy that believes in creating and using internet assets to build your stuff, not using someone else's, because I think even in the beginning, they're very good and they make you money, but at some point, they bite you in the ass. So at some point, if you're going to do this thing, you must have your own internet properties. At some point, you have to have it. So why not do that first? And if you still feel the urge, that little scratch to go do the third-party platform, do it. But work on your own stuff. So just get that clear. I don't fuck with eBay. I don't mess around with Amazon. And what do? I am a strategist. I am a growth person. I do business development. Strategy, why are we doing what we're doing? And create a roadmap to get you from point A to point B. Because many people are so in their business that they can't see their business. It's like, I can't see the inside of this shirt because I got it on. It's kind of like where many of you are with your business. You're so invested in it and you're so close to it, you can't see it because you're in it. So with me, I'm like, okay, that's going on, hold on, oh yeah, you got that going on in there too. So that's where the strategy comes from, because many small business owners have me syndrome. I can figure it out. I'm the smartest person. No, you can't figure it out. If I didn't come across Earl Nightingale's Lead the Field, Tony Robbins, Tommy Hopkins, there were so many mentors that I picked up along the way because I couldn't figure it out. And there are many of you who's like, I'm going to figure it out. And what you're going to run into is an information ceiling. The information that you have is only going to get you here. And that's it. You're not going any further. You're not building any further because it's just you. I want you to think about something. And I've said this and no one has mentioned it in the comments since I've been doing YouTube. I started in the storage auction business with a partner from day one. It was never just me. There's always been additional elements to my business success. I had a partner. I had a very good partner who was an accountant. Okay, let's talk about that. So the business was properly structured, account set up, bank from day one. That's one of the reasons that I was able to beat the Clampetts and these other people, because we had proper business protocols from day one. It makes a huge difference, which means if you're just thinking you can do it by yourself, and there's some of you who are brilliant and you'll get it done by yourself, but the truth of the matter is most of you will not. That's reality. Not hating, just stating. So growth. You got a business that's going on, but there's this disconnect between the internet and certain people. Because I've said this before, you'll see someone, they're doing really great out there in the real world, but they can't really get it on the internet because the internet is a separate business, as I talked about in another video. Actually, that video is in Hustle University. Sorry about that. It's a different animal. It's different. It's like different section of the matrix with its own rules and regulations. So seriously, if you have a physical business and you have an internet business, you have two businesses. You don't have one. You have two. And if you treat them as two distinct businesses, you're going to get more traction. So business development. What are we going to do? What can we do? There's many times you want to start a business, and once you start getting feedback from the world, it will lead you to start another business or another service or another product. Many people get scared and they'll be like, I'm going to do what I want to do because it's a dream. Versus taking the feedback, they ignore it, and they crash, and they just go boom. So I'm the guy that's like your guide, your shogun. I just show you the way. I can help you build up so many things. Now, this is something you really need to do before you contact me, because many people, and that's why I'm doing this video, ask yourself, what kind of life do you want? Now, this is going to sound offensive, but if you are more concerned with creating some business processes to get some money and forget the whole lifestyle planning, I don't want to work with you. And this is why. Because you'll build up that business, and because you neglected the lifestyle planning, you're going to end up in the same place you were today emotionally. Even your business might be humming along, you might be making money, and just to put a dark moment on that, sometimes when people are fantastically wealthy from a fiscal standpoint, but their soul has poverty, their spirit is bankrupt, sometimes these people kill themselves with millions of dollars in the bank. Just to let you know, that shit doesn't mean anything when your total life isn't together. So if you don't want to work on the lifestyle planning, because that's something I require. Like, what kind of life do you want? How do you want to live? What kind of hours you work? And people are like, well, I don't want that. I just want, give me the stuff to make some money and then shut the fuck up and get on. I don't want to work with you. If that's your thing, there's plenty of people out there. There's plenty of business consultants. Go find one, because I'm going to put you through that process. And it's a good process because I put myself through the process, and that's the reason I don't have to deal with traffic. That's the reason I get to work at home. That's the reason in the middle of the day I go work out in the gym, because I don't have to deal with certain things because it was all part of a plan, a lifestyle plan. I don't want to drive. I don't want to commute. So I created a business to serve those needs. Now, why is that important? Brings your stress level from. I get in traffic. I don't get road rage. Because I'm not exposed to that. I'm not exposed to that all the time. So that's very, very important. Less stress, less wear and tear on your spirit and body. You can't replace this. It renews itself, but the less stress you put on it, and there's good stress and there's bad stress, but the less bad stress you put on it, the longer, the healthier you are. To me, that's incredibly important. Maybe not to you, but to me it's incredibly important. So lifestyle planning. So another part of this is, where do you want to go? What kind of business? Where do you want to go? What are you doing? Do you want to save whale? What? What is your thing? What do you want to do? Because there are many people who's just like what I call a get money hustler. I just want to make some money because I have an immediate financial need and I need to solve that problem. Now, I don't want to work with you. Number one, you're broke. Number, just straight up, you're broke. You don't have any money to pay me, and you will work the shit out of me with no money. I did it a few times just to be charitable, and it was one of the worst experiences because when you are not only fiscally broke, your spirit may be broke. Money comes and goes, but it's hard to fix a broken spirit. It may never be fixed. I don't have those kind of powers. So you need to come to me with some kind of intact stuff, some things that you're working on. So I can't do that. I just can't do that. It's just crazy. Now, how much money do you want to make? I ask people this all the time, and I get the the owl look is the standard answer is as much as possible. That's a bullshit answer. It's very hard to quantify as much as possible. That gets you nowhere. You know, today $30 will be as much as possible, and then your mind's like, okay, that's as much as possible, and then that's where you are. You need to have a number. You gotta have a number. The number helps you tremendously. It forces you to focus. Forces you to look at things from a critical standpoint. Just, I want to make as much money as possible. Oh, I just hope to be happy. Oh, I hope to eat. Oh, I hope to have gas in my car. You go nowhere with that. Nowhere. So, nowhere you're going, have a number, and we'll just start from there. And also, let's talk about the process. It takes me time to figure out who you are, where you want to be. And that's part of the process because a lot of people email me and they want to talk. And I'll see the email and I can just tell from that first email that this is a 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, 12, 20-hour deal. If your life is fucked up, and it's been fucked up for a while, it's not going to become unfucked in an hour. It's not happening. So you got to invest in yourself. If you don't want to invest in yourself, that's fine. But don't expect me to invest in you when you don't want to invest in you. And that's what a lot of people do. It's like, hey, let's go to lunch. Hey, no. We need to do something. We need to make some stuff happen. And one of the beauties of having a lifestyle plan, I'm very blunt. I use profanity. I've been called unfucking professional, and I am unfucking professional. I have no desire to be fucking professional. I have a great desire to be me. And this is me. This is what you get. You meet me in the street. This is how I'm going to be. When business deals, I'm going to tell you the truth, and I'm going to help you make more money. I'm going to help you have a better life. There's benefit because I'm not going to blow smoke up your ass. Because if you're paying me, I'm going to tell you about yourself, and we're going to do the things to make your business good, which is another part. You need to have a business. You need to have a business. If you don't have a business, we are into business development planning, which takes hours. I cannot talk to you for 10 hours and get just a lunch. It's emotionally depleting because I want you to be successful. I'm rooting for you. I'm like, I got pom-poms. I'm cheering for you. And that's a long commitment. So with that, how do I get paid? Per hour, per project, if you have a project. And this is, once again, where you need to tell me what you're trying to do. Because there are many people who's like, hey, I want to do this. And they'll give me what I call topical stuff. And only after the money's paid and the clock is really ticking, that they start telling me the truth. They'll tell me what they think. It's like, well, hey, this is... I have had people that I didn't really find out the secret thing from them until the third conversation because it's like this. It's like I put on my hat and I'm in the mind and I'm looking for stuff. Okay. Oh, you do this? Well, let's do this and this and this. I have to find this stuff out to help you, and many people are not used to being freaking honest with themselves. It's just like, well, I want honest with that. Everything else is just hoo-de-hoo. So that's part of the process. So you gotta know. So get paid per hour, per project. And if you have a real business with real books and numbers, that means you have your accounts already set up. Or if I have to do it, I'll do an equity split. So say I improve your business X amount, then I get X amount with a monthly retainer. Because there are many people who's like, hey, let's do the equity thing. Then I'll work for a whole month. And this happened. I actually did this for someone, worked for a whole month, and they didn't want to pay me. And it wasn't because I didn't do what I was supposed to do. I did it too well. because when her husband saw how much more money, he had a problem. He's like, well, was it really worth that? I mean, we'll just throw you maybe, this is what the guy said to me. He said, $800. It was a $20,000 differential. And he was like, well, yeah, that's worth about $800. And I just pulled up my contract and said, well, if I go to court, I'm going to get all 20. And then I got paid what they were supposed to pay me. So that whole thing is, and that's when, and once again, in my business, I have learned that I must set expectations. So if we do something equity, it's going to be a contract. You need to get an attorney. You need to look at this stuff, and it'll be a simple contract. But that's the deal. If you want to do equity, there will be some money up front, plus there'll be a monthly retainer, plus the equity per month. I go per month because when I was doing per quarter, that got a little dicey. So those are the three modes of how I get paid. Now, let's talk about life coaching. I get this all of the time. If you're on my email address, e-list, you see this. I'll send out something, and there's people who want life coaching, and they want to be guinea pigs and all this other stuff, but they don't want to pay for it. I don't have to give away stuff for free anymore. 2009, yes. 2010, a little bit. I don't have to do that anymore. And I'm not. So if you want those services, fine. So, all right, as I always do, because if you stayed here this long, you're really interested, and you're not fucking a pussy. Fucking doesn't really bother you. Actually, you're probably going to be fucking tonight because you're a winner. So this is the deal.